when it comes to cooking, I mean, we really... What do we do? We feature sausage every time we cook it.
Well,
it's frying.
We used to do a little liturgy about it. Like we would simmer it first for a few minutes, and that would sort of toughen up the exterior and prevent it from bursting. But we tend to not do that anymore if we just fry it low and flip it once.
Yeah, so I guess that's really the only trick when it comes to grilling or frying sausage is the direct and abrupt contact of the heat source on the cold casing. And that can quickly, the casing will shrink, blister, and pop, which it's actually not that bad if that happens, but because, especially if you source a good pig and you've mixed it nice, you got the stringies and the clingies, a lot of the liquid and the fat still won't run out because it's integrated with the protein of the meat. It's kind of locked in, which is nice. And so, but nonetheless, you can mitigate the loss of any flavorings or nice things you put in there by preventing the casing from bursting. And a little 4-minute simmer in water basically just warms the casing. So it's not cold casing, hot skillet, which causes it to shrink real quick and maybe burst real quick. And then foregoing the water, you would just fry it gently and flip it once. Because if you when you flip it once, you've got the blistered brown side up, and on a skillet, that side's getting cold. It's losing temperature, and it's made brittle because of the frying.
Weakened, yeah.
And so if you flip it back on the heat directly, it's going to burst. I almost promise you.
It's kind of the same principle, a little different, but if you have a steak, people who know how to cook steaks, they know.
Flip it once.
You just flip it once.
And then don't touch it.
Yeah.
Yes, very true. And you can kind of forego a lot of that by baking too. We've gone through spats of baking our sausages on a tray, and we figure it out anew every time how long and what temperature. But it is nice to get that. It's nice to crisp up the casing because then it's not stringy and chewy. It's just, it pops and it's very taut. Sometimes if I'm ever going to simmer a sausage, I make the sausage with simmering in mind.
Oh, okay.
So with all the sausages we've made that we make commonly, I intend to fry them. If they are going to be simmered, then I salt them more heavily. It's more like, I go up to a teaspoon and a half per pound of meat. I don't know what that is percentage of weight, but it's like 2.2% or something. Just because the act of simmering a sausage that long, even if it's in beef, or even if it's in beer, I mean,
right,
like a bratwurst or something, it will sap some of the salt out through osmosis or diffusion, and some of the fat, and you'll lose some of it.
Yeah.
Some of that flavor.
Yeah.
So I'm usually fry them, unless I intend the sausage for that end, for simmering.
I want to bring this to a close, but you just mentioned bratwurst, and that brought to mind that we just cooked sausage in sauerkraut the other week.
That was awesome.
It was so awesome. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Wait, how did we do that? That was very similar to this recipe, the white pepper, coriander.
Yeah.
That was crazy good.
But just the act of simmering it in sauerkraut, it was so good. The kids loved it. Everyone loved it.
We ate more of
Just
it.
do
Okay,
it.
yeah. No, this is a whole... This is actually the science of cooking sausage.
Yeah.
See, the thing about this sausage that we're telling you, we're divulging the recipes for, we're teaching you how to make, is that it is extremely rich. We take it for granted because that is the only sausage we eat.
Yes.
But relative to the grocery store, in terms of richness and how filling this sausage is with this quantity of fat, this quantity of salt, it's like 1 to 5. I can eat 5 links of store-bought stuff relative to what we make. So what you want to do is naturally facilitate the consumption of the most sausage humanly possible. And what that requires is, again, harmony.
Yes.
So the rich, salty fatness of the sausage needs to be countered, foiled by the sour tanginess of fermented vegetables.
Yes. Kimchi as well.
Yeah. And sauerkraut, it's really hard to beat the sauerkraut that you made.
It's kind of obvious.
That was just so stupid good. Mm-hmm. And I think what I did is I still browned the sausages in a skillet. Mm-hmm. Just browned, so they're totally raw, but the outside is crispy.
Kind of caramelized, yeah.
And then I plopped them in with the sauerkraut, and I think I did add some stock and some apple cider.
Yeah.
Because the sauerkraut was quite dry, and so it did need some liquid that could cook down.
You probably deglazed the pan that the sausages were in, and then added the kraut to the sausage pan, and then started.
That sounds like me.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about the sauerkraut is it loses not its sourliness upon being cooked. It retains it.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And the magic of it was we ate like twice the quantity of sausage we usually would, only because it was accompanied by its foil. It was accompanied by sauerkraut.
Yeah.
So that was awesome. Mm-hmm. That was so good. That's why, when I'm in the shop here by myself and I don't, for whatever reason, you're gone or lunch is just not happening that day, I'll fry up a sausage and just eat it with mustard. Uh-huh. All I will have is the sausage with mustard. Uh-huh. And that little zing, that sourly tang, really is awesome. It creates almost a total complete harmony.
Yeah.
I would say the one thing that's missing is not necessarily another flavor, but a texture. I think the rich, unctuous, fatty flavor married and countered by the sour flavor it really quivers in harmony in the music of the spheres when you get a crunch in there. Like fried bread, something that's got a crunch to it.
Yes, yeah.
It's really awesome.
Well, and not to mention your beverage that will be going with it, which is why beer just goes so well with it.
Yeah.
Because it's got that countering.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, a nutty, sweeter beer. Yeah, the carbonation.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so the harmony is very deep. And I think that's really the final cause of sausage is finding its place in the grand harmony of the meal as a whole.
Sure.
You will love it even more. Mm-hmm. And feeding our chudders, as our daughters would say.
Yeah.
Our chudder.